Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholoyim La Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakah HaKodash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth, and just want to say the water toward the H.I.M and Akwaf, that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yahanan the Waf. Just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. This particular article was in the Hill, and if you've been paying attention, they got these protests going on out here in California, and Trump has just sent out the National Guard. It says National Guard troops arrive in Los Angeles after Trump orders to respond to protests. Now Trump, he's sending these National Guard without the approval. Well, I guess not necessarily approval, but the state of California, they don't need the National Guard. They have what they need already to handle the situation, but this is Trump, man. It says California National Guard troops began arriving in Los Angeles on Sunday morning after President Trump said he would be deploying 2,000 members to respond to immigration protests. Now, I'm not sure, because it says they're arriving in Los Angeles. I would think that Los Angeles would already have National Guard, like most states do, like cities, unless they reside in or concentrated out of another city. But I would think that LA would be a place where they would already have them. So are these like a special unit that Trump is sending in, which you got to be, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We're not, ignorant of the fact that these could be regular citizens. These could be regular citizens dressed as army army men, so to speak, and they could just be some regular motherfuckers, some regular Edomites, man. Because these Edomites, they hate Jake already, so it's nothing for them to sign up for stuff like this. They got little paramilitaries in the backdrop. Matter of fact, they was doing one here. It's a group of these white nationalists, and it's all just so-called white men, young so-called white men, and they go out on certain weekends, and it's like a boot camp basically for so-called white men, and they're just regular citizens, So you never can tell who these people are, but we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Matter of fact, let me just grab that quick script real quick. Because we're not ignorant. So you just cannot be ignorant of the way that this man gets down. It would be foolish because the Lord said to never trust thine enemy. If you don't know your enemy, he can get down on you. But this is I'm going to read it in the NLT, the New Living Translation. It says, so that Satan would not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. And let's go into this word Satan, because a lot of people, they get it tripped up. Now there's a spiritual being, Satan, but there's a physical counterpart to the spiritual being, Satan, and it's the so-called white race, man, them damn Edomites, because they're the ones that keep shit going in the earth. I seen an article earlier where it was talking about if you could get rid of one thing out of the earth, what would it be? First thing hit my mind was, damn Edomites, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the ones that's causing all the problems that's going on in the planet. All this war, all this disease, all these different, people just depressed as hell. People, just this shit it's a nasty place with this man being in power. And that's what the Lord is coming to take this man out of power, along with all the rest of these heathen nations as well. But this is the top heathen nation of the Lord's enemies. Okay, so it's Satanus, G4567, Satan, adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act. The name given to the prince of evil spirits, the inveterate adversary of God and Christ. He incites apostasy from God and to sins, circumventing men by his wiles. The worshippers of idols are said to be under his control. By his demons, he is able to take possession of men and inflict them with diseases. By God's acceptance, he's overcome. No, Salakia, by God's assistance, he is overcome. On, they say Christ, we say Mashiach. On Christ's return from heaven, He will be bound with chains for 1,000 years. See all that right there, he be going off. But overall, the word just goes overall into an adversary. He's adverse to righteousness. He's just doing his part. He's doing exactly what he was created to do. And there's a people that's being used physically on this planet that he's able to get his rocks off, man. And it's these damn Edomites. Well, let's go back. So we can't be ignorant of Satan's devices, man. We have to understand what we're dealing with, who we're dealing with, and because that's like the Lord giving us foreknowledge of these prophecies, man. And we're starting to see these prophecies play out. Okay, but it says the U.S. Northern Command confirmed on a post on X that the California National Guard has begun deploying troops in the L.A. area, with some already on the ground. Now you have to realize too that Trump, he's been beefing with the governor of California for quite some time too, so they be having some back and forth going on. So Trump, he's like a big ass kid. If he's not getting his way, he's literally like a big fucking child. He's an old child. He doesn't have no restraint as to, okay, if somebody is speaking about me, I'm just gonna let that shit slide under the bridge. Fuck it, that's just let him talk. No, you get to talking about him or saying anything about him or opposing him, he uses his power to come up against you. It don't matter how great or small the matter may be. I've noticed that with this dude. Okay, but it says Trump ordered at least 2,000 National Guard members to assist immigration agents after 2 days of clashes with demonstrators, despite local lawmakers saying they had not asked for the assistance. See, these people ain't even asked for assistance. He's just sending them out there. And the Truth Social post on Sunday, which, after that last fiasco with 2016 or so, when he was president before, he kept getting booted out of all those social media sites. And so he came up with his own social media site and actually called it Truth Social. Like, everything that's going to come out of your mouth on your own platform that you bought and paid for is going to be the truth. It says, but he said on his own social media site, National Guard had done a great job after 2 days of violence, clashes, and unrest. He also criticized Governor Gavin Newsom. He normally calls him Gavin Newscum, instead of Newsom, which this guy got jokes, man. It says L.A. The mayor, Karen Bass, which is that so-called black lady, for their handling of the protest, if you're familiar with who she is. When all the California fires and shit like that was going on, a little... anyway, she shouldn't have been there anyway. But that was all a nasty work on that end, too. Trump said protesters would not be allowed to wear masks. Now, what they supposed to just, inhale all that goddamn tear gas they was throwing? Of course they're going to have some masks on. But again, like I said, you just never can tell, because what's been going on, too, as of what I've been hearing, I'm not sure how true it is, but I wouldn't doubt it, is that a lot of these people that are coming up and acting like ICE, they're actually regular fucking citizens, man, in these outfits, and they're not coming with no warrants. They're not coming with no, the process of handling it in a proper way. It's just like, hey, you come with me. And if you're outnumbered, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of you. And it's a group of these guys popping up. They got these vests on. They got the military fatigues and shit on. You know what I'm saying? Now, their faces is covered in masks. And that's one thing that they was talking about, too. Like, if you're ICE or you're, and they'll tell you that, yes, to hide their identity, for the protection of their identity and their families and all this, that, and the third. But they all these motherfuckers got on masks, but they telling you can't wear one. See, so here's Trump. He says, what do these people have to hide? Well, what do the people that's coming have to hide? And why? Again, thank you to the National Guard for the job well done, Trump added. Newsom blasted Trump's post on X thanking the Guard, stating that the troops had not been deployed on the ground when he posted this. The governor also said in a post on X that the Trump administration was taking over the National Guard, not because there is a shortage of law enforcement, because they want a spectacle. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, with Trump, this guy about to show y'all something, man. Says, don't give that one. Never use violence. Speak out peacefully, Newsom added. Bass, in a later Saturday night interview, said deploying troops was completely unnecessary. Yeah. So, let me see. They probably got a whole bunch of other stories, too, with it. But if you've seen some of this footage, you know what I'm saying? And I will say, too, that this is just, this is nothing compared to what happened at January 6th, when they stormed the Capitol. See, there's a different type of spirit. See, Jake just out there really, when I was looking at the shit on the covers on the news, Jake just out there, it's just really, they just out there it's just whatever. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't too much seriousness even to that stuff. You know what I'm saying? There was a couple of, things it was a little burning here or there, some property damage, but nowhere near the property damage that happened when those so-called white people stormed the Capitol. And also, when you look at these insurrections or these uproars of the people, which I want to get as well, let's get that in the Apocrypha. In these other countries, they be going hard as fuck. See, this little stuff that these that they're doing out there in California, that shit ain't nothing. I mean, really, in reality, that's regular shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's nothing compared to what these other countries have been doing, as far as like their uproars. But I will say, this is the beginning. Damn, what is Bible at? Slot. This is the beginning of a startup, though. As a matter of fact, I do want to go back and get into a few of those comments to see what these Edomites have to say, because these so-called white people, they show their true colors in these comment boards. No, that's not what I want. Second Esdras, chapter 9, and this is just a part of these prophecies that's coming out in these end days. And the Lord said to watch and pray. And he goes on in this particular verse right here. He's talking about measuring the time diligently. So Second Esdras chapter 9 verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So the Lord said to measure the time. How do you measure the time? Because he's saying, when thou seest part of the signs past, when we start to see these things that he told us about, these things was written, 2,000 or so years ago. Now we're starting to see these things actually happen in full-fledged real time. So it goes on to say, verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, which has been earthquakes all week long. All week long. They haven't been doing a lot of reporting on it because, Esau, he's not going to waste no time on no coverage unless people are dying. That's how they get their likes and views. And, Esau, he focuses directly in on death. And America is pretty much like one of those places where it has to be entertaining. It's entertaining to these Americans for people to, get crushed by a damn building or their damn car flipped 20 times and burst into flame. This is the type of mindset that these Americans have. It's a violent mindset. So they'll show those things when, buildings are crashing and, a couple of thousand people get killed. You know what I'm saying? That's when they get reporting on stuff like that. Other than that, they're not talking about none of these earthquakes. There's been earthquakes all damn week long. All throughout the U.S. Okay, but it says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. See, now you're starting to see these uproars right here in the Americas. And it's only gonna, tick up. It's just gonna, it's a ticking time bomb about to go off, man. Verse 4. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So we have to measure the times. How do you measure the times? We keep up with this news and compare it with the scriptures that the Lord has been talking about. And hey, these things are happening, man. Let me go to the blue letter. You know what, though? I'll come back. Let me see, though. Let's get Matthew chapter 24. Let me start at verse 3 here. Because the disciples asked the Lord what would be happening too before his coming. Matthew 24 and 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And that word world, it goes off into an age. It's not talking about the entire planet or the globe, as a physical ground, so to speak. It's going off into an age, like you've had rulerships throughout history. It's going off into when is this rulership going to end, which is the rulership of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, right? So let me see. See, when you go into this word world, it should go off into age. See, it's ion, or aeon, G165 in the Greek. See, it goes off into forever, an unbroken age, perpetuity of time, eternity. And then, they have the secondary definition on there. It says the world's universe. Then the third one, a period of time or age. That's pretty much overall what it's going off into. Then they have G104, perpetually, insistently, incessantly, Salakia. Yep, but it's going into an age or society. Let's see what it has in yep, see an age. In the New Living Translation, it says, or the age. So what the disciples is asking the Lord is basically, when is this man's kingdom going to end and our kingdom is going to start? So let's get verse 4. It says in Yahweh, which we like to go into the Lord's name. His name is Yahweh, which means that he's the Savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. That's for the newer comers or people that just may be falling across these videos. We have to let the people know the true name of the Father and the Son. And the true name of the Father, the Most High, is Yahweh, which means that he exists for the existing one. And the true name of his Son is Yahweh Shai, which means that he's the Savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. And also to explain that there is no letter J in Hebrew. There was no one calling on the name Jesus when the Lord walked the earth. The letter J is only 500 years old. So 2,000 years ago, no one was calling on the name Jesus, So we have to let the people know that. But he goes on to say, and Yahweh answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. Like we see that's a lot that's going like right now with this Russia-Ukraine thing. That's really hot, especially with this new strike that Ukraine just hit over in Russia, supposedly with a bunch of drones and shit, and taking a lot of their planes out, and they hit some area that was supposedly of some importance. But I think as of last night or the night before, Ukraine done Russia retaliated with like their biggest hit since the war. So they bombed some shit over there last night, I think that was. But you got the things going on with the U.S. and Iran. They're trying to keep Iran from getting up that uranium basically to build these nuclear missiles and shit. You still got of course Israel antagonizing everybody over in that region damn near. But there's a lot of stuff going on. Your China, it's a bunch of stuff that's happening where, even with the wars as far as the tariffs, the tariff wars, that's going on. You got U.S. against NATO, NATO against the U.S. There's a lot of division that's happening as well. But verse 7 it says, verse 6 again it says, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, which we're starting to see, and kingdom against kingdom, which that's what's going on when you see what, these uproars of the people overall. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So you have a lot of citizens that are coming up against the governments because, you got this one concentrated group of so-called white people, that 1% of the earth, or people on the earth that's got all the money, resources, and everybody is just struggling. People wondering how they gonna make it. All the damn bills is going up. People are, sickly, that with most of these people, man, you'd be surprised at how many people can't get about their day without taking a pill or 2 pills or 3 pills. I got to take my psychotic medicine. I got to take my depression medicine. I need all this, so people are fucked up out here. And then to go on top of the rest of this stress, you know what I'm saying? People are losing it. Shit. So that's why we bring out the scriptures too. The Lord said to walk circumspectly, redeeming the times, because the days are evil. Right? So verse 12, I'm going to jump to verse 12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's the reason why you're starting to see a lot of real cold-blooded crimes, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to family. Like you have people right in your house that, they're your siblings or your mother, your father, you're very close. Even if you just, the shit they be doing to just random strangers is crazy. But the shit that people are doing to their own family members, this shit is crazy, bro. Motherfuckers cutting the bodies up. They cutting off who in the fuck I can, you got to have a special kind of demon on you, man, to cut somebody's members off. I mean, I can't even imagine the bloodiness of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the strength that it takes to actually cut somebody's head off, man, or their arms off, their legs off. You cutting them all at the torso. That's not an easy job. But people have been doing this to their own family members. And a lot of that shit been going on, man. A lady here she just slit her mother's throat, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but we see stuff in the news, and it's all over the place. It's like we only get these few little news stories that we get throughout the day because, of course, the news can only cover so much within that hour or so that they're on. But they're gonna pick those 3 to 4 nice gruesome stories to throw your ass, because again, America's a bloody place. But just think about all the other stuff that's going on that's not being reported. It's crazy out here, man. But I want to get one more in the Apocrypha too. Let's go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 15. Let me start at verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." See? "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So it's coming to a point where people are going to be like, fuck the police, fuck the mayor, fuck the governor, the senator, the president, and people just going to get out here and do what they're going to do. Verse 17, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." And so, so it's a lot of shit that's about to go down in this place, man. And then in chapter 16 as well, let me see. What is it? Yep, verse 70. There's a lot on here. Let me just get verse 71. 2nd Esdras 16 and 71. "And they shall be like mad men, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord." So really, this is what Esau. It's gonna all come down to Esau, the so-called white race, coming up against the elect of Israel, so to speak, man, the men of the Lord. It says, "For they shall waste and take away their goods, and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Hear, O ye beloved, saith the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord God. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquity lift up themselves. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquity, like as a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travel through. It is left undressed, and is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith." But basically, man, we live these laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability, man. And constantly be praying for mercy and asking for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like, prayer goes a long ways in these last days, but it's really buckling down to this man he's gonna come hard. The same way that Trump is just calling out the National Guard to go and just get these people that's out there, doing the little shit that they doing. When you already got all kinds of law enforcement out there, they got every tool at their disposal out there, man, to stop shit like that, man. They got the police are departments in all these cities, man, are like militaries. These motherfuckers be having armored trucks, armored. They already be having. They got the same shit that the military has already as far as gear. Because what was they throwing yesterday? I think they was I'm not sure if those were concussion grenades or smoke grenades or tear gas grenades or but they have flashbang grenades. Motherfuckers got that utility belt that they be having on. That bitch got everything on it. The big stupid ass vest, you know what I'm saying, that can block a damn tank bullet. They have on the helmets. with the visuals in it. You know what I'm saying? All the optics and so the police are already militarized. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't need to send no National Guard out there, but that was that stance. Of Trump showing you, hey, look, no, I'm in full power. I got this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna override state. He been doing all kinds of shit, overriding of judges and all kinds of shit. Somebody says, yeah, of course, I love my country. Says, so sorry, I'm with ICE on this. This is the federal. This is federal. These riots are getting out of hand. No, they not. You ain't seen nothing. That little shit, man, that I seen. I'm like, man, that's some. Come on. I've seen worse parades and shit after an NBA Finals game. Like, the fuck out of here, man. Yep, and see, somebody responded that the January 6th gets pardons and a payday. Yep. The Nazi regime has arrived in America, folks. It's real now. Camps, showers, and furnaces are not far behind. Yep. Somebody on point with that one. Yeah, because they going to come through with them FEMA camps, but it's all boiling down to control. And when it comes to control, they're going to come down with that micro C hip, that mark of the beauty and the beast, man. Because that's next. Texas red. It's great to have a real president in the White House. Yeah, until you see what this man is really about. They throwing you for a damn loop with him and Elon Musk supposedly beefing now. You don't even understand, man. I don't believe none of that shit. hey, Elon Musk done came in and done what he needed to do and done the damage. And they just pretty much kind of doing some damage control around him and his businesses and shit like that. Because he did, I don't think he was expecting for people to be all up in arms and against his, his Teslas and all that other shit like that, And I think that's just a throw, just a throw off to kind of, Esau like that, man. You have to watch everything this man does. Somebody says, why did he chicken out of the draft? Says he's a chicken shit president. He said he doesn't even know what groceries are. And then, yeah, but they've been going back and forth with this Trump and Biden shit. Trump's fault, Biden's fault, Trump's fault, Biden's fault. But, when it comes straight down to a border wall, a damn border wall should have been built when George Washington was president. You trying to tell me damn near 50 presidents in, nobody thought to build a fucking wall? But you blaming it on, these one or two presidents or whatever within, of recent. Like, what happened to the other presidents? You done stole a country. You're claiming it to be yours. Here you go. You got a fence around the White House, but you're not gonna think about fencing in your borders to keep your enemies out, so to speak. Doofy. Anyway, we won't have to get much more of this, But that January 6th shit was that was some shit. Compared to this little shit that they got going on out here. I mean, like, you can watch some of the footage. Man, it's just, people out there just look like they just having a great day. Just something to do. Somebody says, hey, Reed, if you are a National Guard or active duty military and you are being ordered to violate the constitutional rights of U.S. citizens, then this is the number to the GI rights hotline. There is support. You don't have to go through with it. Yeah, they got the 800 number, 1-877-447-4487. Hey, man, ain't that shit. Please, Trump overriding all that shit. That dude don't give a fuck about no constitution and all that other stuff. He's shown you that week one of him being there. Okay, but anyway, I wanted to just touch on this, man. They know where we at. Just a little measuring line. The Lord said to watch and pray. And that's what we're doing, man, and reporting on these situations, man, because our people are blind as hell. Just like Jake ready for the game to go on. They just, trying to see if Indiana going to pull off another game with OKC and all this other silly shit. Anyway, and then all the other stuff going on. They waiting on the, the next installment of the Diddy trial, All this stupid, doofy shit going on in the news that people are not paying attention to what Esau really got going on in the backdrop. But with that, pray that this lesson was edifying. Kwame Yasha Allah and the Bible Ball.